This meeting is being recorded.
That changed my life 18 years ago when I met a young man named Apollo. This is Apollo on the screen now. I was an enthusiastic 27-year-old. Like, I'm still enthusiastic, but so you can imagine what I was like as a 27-year-old. And I'd been working for Tear Fund for a few years when my husband and I decided that we wanted to go and visit some of the work, go and see how it all worked in Uganda in person. And I was definitely passionate. I was completely convinced, but my husband was a little skeptical about how programs like child sponsorship worked. Were they really effective? So we spent a day visiting a project in Gaba, Uganda, which is actually just a little south of where your project is that the children you're taking care of are from. Now, I expected totally to be moved. I expected to talk to a few people, get some meaningful stories and some photos to share, but man, I got so much more than that. Have you ever had a day where every 30 minutes you learn something new? Something heartbreaking, as you've seen in Danny and Joyce's story this morning? Something miraculous? Well, this was that day for me. But the life-changing moment came later in the day. Imagine the sun setting, dropping a little lower in the sky, and we met with a group of young people who were coming to the end of their time of sponsorship. We sat together on the patio overlooking Lake Victoria, and we ate fish, and we talked. We drank lemonade out of tall bottles with straws because they're recycled bottles, and you can't put your lips on the bottles there. So we were drinking those, we were eating fish, and we were talking about their lives and their dreams for the future. And Apollo was one of those young people. So he'd been sponsored from age 10 and grew up with, just take a little breath, 16 siblings. And in amongst those 16 siblings, there were 4 sets of twins. They lived in a 2-bedroom shack, and they had no power, no running water. In fact, he described himself to Jared and I, my husband and I, as the poorest of the poor. He told me he grew up in fear and insecurity, and every night his family would pray that no one would fall sick because they just couldn't afford the medical fees. He said to us, "Sponsorship changed my life dramatically. I used to imagine that I'd become a wheelbarrow pusher, but the staff at the project taught us to think, teach, plan, and dream big. And I felt like I belonged somewhere. I didn't have to worry anymore, and I felt special and loved." One of the things he also said is sponsorship and the teachers at Compassion made him aware of the issues affecting his village and how to be safe. And I thought that was really interesting in terms of where he ended up. So just a few months ago, I heard from Apollo again via Facebook. He said, "I know you," and I was like, "Yes, you do," because I always remembered him, but I didn't expect myself to be remembered. And today, he is the pastor of a large church in his community, on the board of a development agency, and has just written his first book, Limitless. And this is his family today. He has a collection of children in his life, foster children, and many families in the community that he takes care of. Just amazing. And he picked up from our conversation on the lake 18 years earlier, and he said to me, "My sponsor changed my destiny. For me, it was a matter of life or death. If someone didn't help me, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I wouldn't own a house, I wouldn't be leading a church, I don't even think I'd be married. Compassion taught me who God is. They told me He loves me, and this was very new to me." So this experience and meeting Apollo had a profound impact on us both. It helped us to see the power of this work and the impact that it has from so little from us. So this Sunday I'm wondering, who changed your life? And I invite you just to take a moment to reflect. Who are the influences of your own childhood? Was it a parent, a teacher, a pastor, a stranger? Have a little think about that. Well, Tear Fund partners with Compassion International, which connects local children to their local church family. How it works is that critical needs are met. Education, access to a doctor, nutritious food and safe places to play. Every child is known, loved and protected, and that really isn't just a nice saying. We actually hear that compassion-sponsored children are not targeted by traffickers because they are too known and too protected. The program is always run out of the local church, which is amazing. The church rolling up their sleeves in their own community. And each child is allocated a social worker. You would have heard about that in Joyce's story. They visit the child in the family home and they spend time with them, getting to know their hopes for their education and their future, because when a child grows up in poverty, it can rob them of dignity and hope. When Apollo was young, he believed he was insignificant and unable to break the cycle. Having a sponsor that wrote to him, prayed from him, from the other side of the world, sitting over there in America or New Zealand or wherever they were in the world, it made a difference. It really did. And of course, physical needs are met for every child. That's crucial, but hope is born in the beauty that sponsorship is more than a survival program. It's transformational. If you've been inspired at all to sponsor a child today, you can do so really easily by scanning one of those QR codes or speaking to us after. So as the musicians come, I think Kent's popping up, I want to say thank you, because I know that after this morning, more children like Apollo, like Danny and Joyce and like Kefi will be impacted. More children will have another person on the other side of the world saying, I'm praying for you, I believe in you. As a musician, I'd just like you to encourage you to think about who that person is that's changed your life. If you have one of the cards that was handed out to you at the door, please write on it, take it home, pray for that person, thank God for them. At Tear Fund, we have the gospel of Jesus at the centre of what we do. These kids here today, children here, can grow up with a hope more powerful than poverty. Because when poverty says this is just too hard, Jesus says, come to me, all you who are heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. When poverty says you'll never amount to anything, Jesus says, I know the plans I have for you. It's been such a privilege to be here. Please come and talk to us after the service, and we'd just so love to answer any of your questions. And I'm sure Danny will be happy to do the same. Thanks, everybody.